We come now to verse 43 of the 7th chapter of the Gospel of John. We are on the last day of the Feast of Tabernacles, said to be the great day of the feast, and Jesus has made this rather dramatic announcement, which has rather divided the crowd. We have the religious leaders on the one hand, who as a general rule are fairly hostile to Christ and are trying to figure out some way to apprehend him, to silence him, to neutralize him. Even in the popular perspective on Jesus, the perception of him is somewhat divided. There are those who identify Christ with the prophet who had been predicted by Moses. There are those who identify him as the Christ, and yet there's a controversy as to how it is that this could be the Christ if he comes from Galilee, when in fact Micah predicts that the Christ would come from Bethlehem. And we can imagine that there's just an ongoing conversation, and that's what John essentially affirms as we come to this verse 43, in which he uses the word schisma. We, of course, get words that have to do with schism or schismatic, that kind of thing, from this Greek word. A division is really the idea. So their division, therefore a division, ageneto. This is from genomai, I become, is the meaning of it. It's the third person singular aorist active indicative of this deponent verb. So a schism came to be, we would say, in. The preposition takes the dative, as we find it here, the dative singular masculine, in the oklo, in the dative of the word oklos, which means crowd. There came to be a division in the crowd, probably more than one of them. D is a contraction of dia. With the genitive, it means through. With the accusative, it means on account of, and this is the accusative in this occasion, the accusative masculine singular of the third person pronoun auton, which means him. And so there came to be a division in the crowd on account of him. Jesus divides the crowd. Not surprisingly, of course, it's the effect of Jesus, and he himself makes reference to that on more than one occasion, that he would be the one who would set one person against another. Even within the confines of a family, there's going to be division as a result of him, and so we find that that's precisely what's going on here. That there are those who are recognizing in Christ some supernatural quality. They can't quite put their finger on how to describe it exactly. There are others, of course, who probably were being dismissive and viewed Jesus as some kind of charlatan, as some kind of imposter, and weren't able to and weren't willing to embrace the truth of who he actually claimed to be.